In this video, we're looking at the beautiful and fascinating world of sums of series of complex numbers. We're going to just jump into the deep end here. Algebraically, this is quite fiddly, but the results are absolutely stunning. What we're going to do is we're going to explore this sequence here of, it's a series of complex numbers. And we're just going to explore this now and see where it takes us. So, if we have a complex number, e to the I theta, so just an arbitrary complex number with a modulus of 1, and then we consider this series here, which is e to the I theta plus e to the 2I theta and e to the 3I theta. What can we say about that? Well, there are two interesting things that spring to mind. One is this is a geometric sequence because each term is just the previous term multiplied by another e to the I theta. So it's a geometric sequence. But by de Moivre's theorem, this is also a sequence we can split apart into two sequences, one real term made up of coses and one imaginary term sequence made up of sines. Let's just put both of those down and have a think about what that implies. Let's start with splitting it up into the real and the imaginary. So we know by de Moivre's theorem that e to the I theta is the same as cos theta plus I sine theta, and that e to the 2 theta is 2I theta is cos 2 theta plus I sine 2 theta, and so on. We've got cos 3 theta plus I sine 3 theta, and so on, all the way up to cos n theta plus I sine n theta. What this means is that the real part of x is just all the coses. So cos theta plus cos 2 theta, etc., all the way up to cos n theta. And the imaginary part is just the sines. It's sine theta plus sine 2 theta all the way up to sine n theta. So these are probably sequences that you maybe not thought about before, and it would be quite cool to have expressions for these which would work for any value of n. And in fact, that is what we can do with this. Let's loop back to the observation that this was also a geometric sequence or geometric series. Recall that the sum of a geometric series is a, the first term, times the ratio to the power of n minus 1 over the ratio minus 1. So what is a in the sequence? Well, it's the first term, e to the I theta. So x is e to the I theta. Now the ratio is e to the I theta as well, and we're raising that to the power of n, so that's e to the n I theta, then minus 1, all over the ratio, which is e to the I theta minus 1. So if we can split this x expression here up into its real part and its imaginary part, we will have an expression for the sum of these cos terms and an expression for the sum of these sine terms. So how do we do that? Well, this is where we use what we learned in the previous video. Notice that this bit here and this bit here, we can force factorize things to allow us to simplify. How do we do that? Well, look, this e to the I theta is just there. Now, what do we factorize out of this to give me a form I can simplify? Well, it's e to the n I theta over 2. Here's why. E to the n I theta over 2 leaves me with e to the n I theta over 2 minus e to the minus n I theta over 2. That's ready to apply our formula of 2I sine of some stuff. Similarly, on the denominator, I can force factorize out an e to the I theta over 2, leaving me with e to the I theta over 2 minus e to the minus I theta over 2. Both of these are now ready to replace. What do we replace them with? Well, let's come on to that in a second. Let's first deal with this. You've got e to the power of something times e to the power of something divided by e to the power of something, so we can just simplify all of that. Let's start with this. I theta minus half I theta is just half I theta, add half I theta to half ni theta, and the term there is e to the n plus 1 over 2 I theta. So that's just dealt with all of these. What's left up at the top? Well, this is the same as 2I sine n theta over 2. And then how about on the bottom? That bit is the same as 2I sine theta over 2. Okay, we're nearly in a position to really simplify this. Let's cancel the 2i from the top and the bottom. And I'm just going to rewrite this now as, once we've cancelled the 2i's from the top and bottom, as sine n theta over 2 divided by sine theta over 2. And then all of that multiplied by e to the n plus 1 over 2 I theta. And look what we've got. We have an arbitrary, not an arbitrary, but we have a complex number here with a modulus of 1. And this is a purely real number. And what that tells me is that this bit here is the modulus. And this bit here contains the argument. Specifically, n plus 1 over 2 theta is the argument. So I actually have my number now in such a form where I can write it in modulus argument form. The modulus is sine n theta over 2 over sine theta over 2. And if I split this up now, this part here using De Moivre's theorem, I have cos n plus 1 over 2 theta plus I sine n plus 1 over 2 theta. And this is where I really wanted to be, because look, I now can see that the real part of x, which was this cos sequence here, is just the real number here multiplied by the real bit here. And the imaginary part of x, which is just the sine sequence, is this modulus here times by this sine term here. So really excitingly, what I can say is the sequence cos theta plus cos 2 theta all the way up to cos n theta, which is the real part of x, must be the same as the real bit of this. What is that? That's sine n theta over 2 over sine theta over 2 multiplied by the real part here, which is cos n plus 1 over 2 theta. And the imaginary part of x, which is the sine bits, the sine theta plus sine 2 theta, all the way up to sine n theta, is the imaginary part of this, which is the modulus sine n theta over 2 over sine theta over 2, multiplied by the imaginary part here, which is sine n plus 1 over 2 theta. Let's just take a step back and review what we have. I'm not saying these are like really pretty results, but it's surprising, I think, that we can even find a nice closed form for the sum of these cos terms, however big x is. If x is 1,000, if n is 1,000, sorry, all you do is go in here and write 1,000 instead of n, and it gives you a fairly simple formula for that enormous expression. Same for the signs here. What's beautiful about this is we've used complex numbers to learn something about real numbers. Because look, this sequence is a sequence of real numbers, and the answer is a sequence of real numbers. This is another sequence of real numbers with an answer that's a real number, and we did it by using complex numbers. If you found that challenging, I'm not surprised. This is arguably the most challenging part of the whole Further Maths course conceptually. Stick with me though. We're going to go through lots of examples. Each one is fairly similar, and you can really master this if you just look through a few examples, and it's really satisfying. Such a powerful result about real numbers we learn by using complex numbers. You can see that I like this. I hope you do as well once you get your head around it. So see you in the next video. We'll work through some more examples.